G'day, guys, and welcome back to another live stream. It has been a while. Things have been pretty hectic around here. So it is good to be back, and it is time for the elections again down in Victoria. We'll see if Daniel Andrews will still have his grip on the state and what his plans are for shooters and duck season. So before we start, please hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share it as well. Would be really, really appreciative. So we shall bring Jason in here. Good evening, Jason.
What's going on, man? It's been quite a few weeks since we've done a live stream. I know you've been working quite a lot. I did a bit of duck hunting on the Riverina on the rice fields, which was pretty darn good, actually. I mean, not as many birds, obviously. A lot of flooding down there. Probably glad we left when we did, actually. But yeah, you've been doing a lot of work too, man. So
yeah, it's been absolutely flat out here, and for work and coming up to Christmas. It's that time of year. Everyone wants everything done right now. So yeah, normally 10, 12, 14-hour days. I'm working. By the time I finally get home and get to sit down. So yeah, it has been good. So it hasn't had much to do much outside of work at all. I haven't had much time at all. So it has been So yeah, that's been about it my entire life. So how was your hunting trip? Your duck shooting trip?
man, it was you know what, it's been raining. If you've seen some of the photos on the Facebook page, it's been pretty crazy. I mean, a lot of rain, and it's interesting because that Riverina mud, it's like no other. As soon as it gets wet, you get a decent amount of rain. I don't know what it turns to, but it just sticks to everything, even your gum boots. When you actually get in the car, let's say the gum boot's this big, when you step in the mud, your gum boot will be this big because it's got an inch, at least inch to 2 inches around the hole. It just sticks to everything, man. And when we went there, it's like we struggled to even get into the farmer's property. And then when we did, it was just a nightmare. So we ended up staying at the local caravan park for a while. And then even behind the house, we could only get to so much of the rice because the river on his property just come all the way up to, the roads inside his property on the edges. And it was just a nightmare. But yeah, I mean, pretty good. I was shooting like a bit of a busted ass for the first couple of about 3 days. I was just over choking the shotgun, thinking, full choke and 3/4 chokes good over decoys. It wasn't so good over decoys, man. So I said, stuff it. I'm a bit rusty, so let's get out the improved cylinder choke, maybe a half choke. Let's maybe not hit some of those longer birds, but hit some of that. Try at least hit some of those closer birds, man. So, man, I love duck shooting, man. I really do. I love wing shooting of any kind. I really want to get over to Argentina one day and shoot doves over in Argentina. I reckon that'd be pretty cool, man. But other than that, man, not bad a trip. Shot some hares, some rabbits. Did a bit of shooting the 22. It was just a good time, man. Not too bad. Wish I was there longer. Luckily, we left, though, because when we didn't leave, they're actually evacuating the town that I was actually in. So not very good. Luckily, we left when we did, man. So, again, with all the issues over the last couple of years with droughts and then, the Rona, and then now we've got floods everywhere. Anyway, you got to take the good with the bad, but it always seems to be bad sometimes. But anyway, good people back in the group. Good to see everyone. Some regular names there. Good to see you.
It is. And before we start, of course, we want to thank the tonight's sponsor, Browns Plains Firearms, who's been the long-term and, the longest and best sponsor we ever had. He's been fantastic. Old Gary down there at Browns Plains. So if you do have you're in Brisbane at all, make sure you pop in and see the boys down at Browns Plains Firearms here in Brisbane, South Brisbane. Great shop, great people, and they are the big supporter of this show. So thank you very much to Gary and the boys down there.
Hey, I remember when I first went there and you said, you took me into the shop. Gary's just like, come in, don't worry about it. Get behind the counter. It's like you're working there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Top bloke. And he's a big hunter too. All the guys there are big hunters. So they absolutely love, all forms of hunting. It's a shame we don't have wing shooting up here. No duck shooting here in Queensland. Pretty sure that scumbag Beatty, that Labor Premier, I think he got rid of duck hunting here in Queensland.
Yeah, I think it was Bob Carr, or Bob Carr with us. I'm pretty sure it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I know people would probably know more than me on that particular one, but I'm sure it was Bob Carr many years ago. Matt Cato said, have I got a video coming? Nah, man, it was a bit hit and miss, to be honest, because there was sometimes you'd sit for an hour, mate, and not even see a single bird. Then all of a sudden you get 2 to 3 sets come in. And, it's kind of hard to get that, especially when sometimes you can't see them. And then all of a sudden they're coming flat along the rice and you sort of don't see them sometimes, especially when it gets darker and then the GoPro doesn't really work in low light that much. So, nah, man, but I'm sure we'll have some other hunting videos coming soon, maybe some more deer hunting ones next year. Sean said, I wish we had some good pheasant shooting here in Australia. Yep, I agree. I love my wing shooting, man. I really did. If I had to pick it, it's always been my number one. I always love shotguns. I've got like 4 of them. I just love shooting shotguns for some reason, but I've got to hit the range again because I definitely was a bit rusty, and especially when you're using 4 3/4 chokes on decoys, you've really got to be on the money. The pattern could only be, say, this big, and I was just missing a fair bit easy shots on the first, when they were coming in. So it was took me 4 days to just get the guts up to go, stuff it, I'm going to change chokes, but. Yeah, and Isaac said, poor bastards being flooded out of their homes. Price you got to pay, live in paradise. Yeah, well, man, there was a lot of water, man. Even some of the paddocks that we were going to up the top of the farm, because this is 5,000 acres or maybe more, 15,000 acres. I've been going there for 10, 12 years. This guy's the best farmer you'll ever meet. He just doesn't, you don't meet guys like this. I've never met a farmer like this, just a real top bloke. And it's just difficult to get real good farmers these days, especially when we were up the back too. It was flooded, man. It was 4 foot high. And he goes, this will take 3 months to dry out. I can't even use that paddock to put animals on. So, yeah, I just saw that hot girls camping thing with your band. Good job.
Banned him. Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, these trolls get in everywhere.
Yeah, come and watch me tonight on the Cam Girls or whatever. But other than that, man, it's wet out there. I mean, it's bad, man. And luckily we left when we did. But yeah, I love duck shooting. Hopefully duck shooting's around for the future. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm a little bit concerned as to, obviously, I think Daniel Andrews probably, we'll go into it a little bit later, but will lose seats, and he may be he may have to form some sort of allegiance, you might say, with the Greens, which is very, very scary, to be honest. And if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, guys, you guys know more than me on this. I mean, I know in New South Wales, we have upper house members. They get 8-year terms. I'm pretty sure in Victoria, you have to be re-elected each term, at least for the upper house. Now, if you know that, can you just correct me if I'm wrong or not? Let me know.
Yeah, I'll get back to duck shooting quickly. What other states actually have duck shooting? New South Wales don't have it. We don't have it.
No, Victoria, South Australia. We've got the rice hunting, which is like a mitigation program, but we've actually got no season. It was banned in, 1995, 96, 97, somewhere around there. It was very early. It was mid-90s, roughly around there. And, it was politically expedient to do so. And, see, both houses, Mr. Wonderful said that's true. Yeah, 4-year terms, I thought it was. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Well, hopefully, at least the Animal Justice Party, I'm hoping that Andy Medic finally gets the arse and doesn't get re-elected. So it's going to be very interesting over the next couple of weeks, that's for sure, to see what happens and how the dominoes fall. But we'll talk about that a bit later. But good to see everyone in the chat. Anything for you to add before I read out some of the people?
No, it's just really good to be back again. And, it will be... this time, because it's the daylight savings now, unfortunately. So Queensland is a bit behind the time. So we got daylight savings. You guys got daylight savings, and we don't. So we're going to be 6:30 here in Queensland, and an hour later everywhere else. Unfortunately,
got to milk those cows, eh? You got to milk those cows.
Yeah, old bugger, Bob Biden, our resident 50-year-old non-performing.
He's older than 50, man. He's older, 50 year in Parliament.
50 year in Parliament, achieved nothing. Yeah, he's always complaining about it all. So,
anyway, here we go. Pez, Tankmeister. I'm just reading him out off StreamYard because there is not many showing at all in the actual YouTube one there. So I do apologize for that. So if I read out people twice, I'm sorry. Andy 1234777, aka Daniel Andrews. So we'll see what happens to poor old Daniel Andrews. We'll talk about it a bit later. D40, Mr. Wonderful, Robert Zero, Scott Stiles, William. We've got Jay Icon. We've got Neil H. We've got Neil Constantinow, who's one of our long-term watchers. Welcome, Neil. We've got Isaac Hamilton. We've got I don't know if this is Russian. Knopock. Nopok. If I've got that correct. Of course, our shredding guitar hero, Matt Cato, long-time watcher of the show. Cliff Lee, Blunt Machete. We've also got Bolster 27, William M. Gabriel. I'm doing a pretty good job of not reading him out twice. Who else we got? Sean White, of course. We've got Val Budzak. Hello, Val. Welcome to the channel. Phantom HD. Phantom, haven't seen Phantom for a while. Welcome. Matt Outdoors Adventures. Welcome to the show as well. I'm just trying. Colin, our buddy Colin Penfold, who is down that southern New South Wales way, just down south of Sydney. He's a long-term watcher as well. PRS Chris. Hello, PRS Chris. I'm not sure if you shoot PRS, but it sounds like you might, which is sounds like a lot of fun. Alan Powell, the real AP. That's a nice name. So welcome, guys. If I've missed anyone, I really do apologize. Jay Icon. I'm not sure if I read Jay Icons before. Yeah, but if I didn't or I did, he gets a double shout out if I did. So that's just some people niche in the chat. So welcome to the chat. Good to have you here. Good to be back. Good to talk to you. I know we said no about politics, but this is probably one of the biggest ones I think we've got coming up, probably over the next at least 12 months to 2 years. And unfortunately, it doesn't look good. It looks a bit ominous, to be honest, but we'll go into it a bit further.
No, so I just found this here while you're reading this out. So bring this up as well. So this is the polls here. So we got a Labor and Liberal tied, they reckon. And along with the Greens, 10% for the Greens and Independents, 6%.
Yeah.
So, yeah, can you really believe those polls tied? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we might as well start on it now. I watched how many guys, let us know in the comments if you actually watched the debates. Honestly, it was the most lackluster thing I've ever watched in all my life. Nobody, at least that I can recall, I had to walk out for about 10 minutes at one stage. So I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but if you did watch it, nobody asked anything about what's happened for the last 2 years, which I don't know if this was a G-up. I don't know if the media is running cover for people like Daniel Andrews. But how on earth can not one question that I heard, and again, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, if I did walk out during that 10 minutes, it was just, there was nothing on the last 2 years. And I was like, really? And Matthew Guy didn't bring it up. I mean, listen, some people saying Daniel Andrews won the debate. He was trying to be Mr. Nice Guy. Some people say, Matthew Guy did a good job. I just think Matthew Guy is a bit of a wet weekend. I don't think he really offers much in the way of, an alternative to Daniel Andrews. I think if I'm going to throw my prediction out there, I know Mr. Wonderful is going to probably be onto me a little bit about this one. He has been in the past, so which is fair enough. I think the only way to beat Daniel Andrews in this election will be to beat him in his local area of Mulgrave. So if they can beat him in Mulgrave, then he's not going to be premier. But this is the problem. And this is a problem with politics, I think, to a certain degree. There's so many people or political parties running in the seat of Mulgrave. It's just not going to work. I don't think it's going to happen in the seat of Mulgrave. I think there's 13 people running in the seat of Mulgrave. So I don't really give it much chance. I thought parties would have sacrificed, at least I think Ian Cook's running, that whole Sluggate debacle. I thought most people were probably going to get behind him. Unfortunately, people, again, their egos have let themselves get in the way. And instead of getting behind one person and not running someone for the seat of Mulgrave, we've got 13 people running for the seat of Mulgrave, which is a bit disappointing. So it's going to be difficult for him to win that. I'm predicting that Daniel Andrews is going to win. I think he's going to lose seats, but I think he's going to need the Greens to have to, not form government, but he'll need their votes to do anything, which again could be dangerous for duck hunters in the state, which is again would be disappointing if very disappointing if Victorians lose their duck hunting. So that's my prediction. I'm really hoping on this one I'm actually going to be wrong. I want to be proven wrong on this one. I want to be wrong. I want people to say that was a wrong prediction because that's what I want to happen. But I'm just also trying to be real as well. So what's going to happen?
I tend to agree with you. I think, unfortunately, with the all the lockdowns and everything, so most of them were city people and they're the ones who really do vote in masses, and they absolutely love the lockdown, sitting at home on their asses, getting paid to basically sit there in the underwear and bash buttons on a computer for a couple of hours a day and milk the system. and they loved the lockdowns. And they've said that many times. They've come out on the news saying how great the lockdowns are. So they are going to vote for Daniel Andrews because now they're bleating on about another major round of the China attack. So they're hoping that they're going to get locked down again, and Daniel Andrews locked them down, and they got to work from home. So they'll be hoping that it all happens and they get their little paid holiday again because none of them want to go back to the office. So that's one thing I think is going to be in his winning. His winning, how he's going to win is by getting the inner city people saying, "Hey, look, I looked after you when the lockdowns were on. I
Well,
made
I
sure
don't
you
know
still could work."
how people would think that anyway, because I mean, he's destroyed business. That's why I just could not understand. There was not one question, man, not a single question about it. Yeah, the last 2 years has just literally killed people, man. Like, how can people
Yeah,
not ask any questions? I mean, Isaac Hamilton
I
says
know.
the Greens and Animal Justice Party and the rest of the lot aren't real greenies. Real greenies support stuff like hunting for conservation, money it produces when you have a proper tagging system. Well, that's because they're not real greenies, man. They don't agree with that sort of thing. They don't
Activist
like anyone
greenies.
having guns or shooting the animals. Well, Mr. Wonderful's here already. Welcome back to me. Guess you
Yeah,
better vote Lib Nat or the tyrant will win. Mate, I don't think
yeah.
it matters if people vote Liberal National anyway. I just don't,
They're
Matthew
both
Guy,
tyrants.
well, yeah,
Well,
but I mean,
Liberals stole our guns. How could any shooter ever put their vote for a Liberal? Ever. Remember, they started this whole thing of gun bans. They're the Liberals.
listen,
So,
I get where he's coming from, because really, technically, right, unless you have a balance of power in the upper house, right, unless you have a balance of power, the only one, this is the reality. I'm not, I wouldn't vote for them, but I'm just saying the reality is that's the only party, because, we all know it's a two-party system. That's the only party that can really compete, with the Labor government to try and form government. Or if he loses and we get some people in there that are pro-shooting and can hold him to account with a balance of power, well, that will be absolutely fantastic. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But
yeah. Thank you to Lockie McFarlane for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. He's a long-time supporter of the show. Thank you very, very much.
Matt Outdoors
Uh,
Adventures said, "What is the most pathetic candidates I've ever seen? Completely useless." Yeah, well, there is a lot of pathetic candidates at the moment. Yeah, that's right. Sean White said, "Literally not one question about the last 2 years." Totally agree. I thought I was right, but I just wanted to confirm people that watched the whole debate, because I did tune out for about 10 minutes to take a phone call. Matt said, "No one hates Dan as much as I do. The only way to get him up is to get Guy in. I don't like him either, but I'd have Satan himself over Daniel Andrews." Something I just don't like about Matthew Guy. I just find him very slimy, just like a wet blanket, not really offering anything. And I'll actually read something for here. Where is it? See if I can. Let me just go here, Aaron. I'm going to run just something that he said, which was weird. I'm going to share the screen here, so I'm not sure if you've got to click it.
yeah.
Did that come up?
No, nothing. You can share it from your end. You've done it before.
All right, let
Since
me
the
just do
since
this.
the
Hang
month
on.
they've been
Oh,
off,
hang
they've
on.
changed everything.
What is it? Here we go. Yeah, this is the one. See if that works. Is that working? Is that coming
Yep,
up?
yep. Here we go. Yep.
All right, let me just go back to your screen. All right, perfect. So this is what I'm talking. This is the main thing here. This is the main part, right? So we've learned a lot in 8 years of opposition. Blah blah blah. I'd say to a lot of people who are disenchanted with Daniel Andrews, but are not sure yet if they will vote for me, my message to you is very clear. We are safe and we are sensible. We are centrist and mainstream. Don't know if doesn't sound good, does it really? I mean, centrist and
Uh,
mainstream, but you can trust me and my team with your vote. So this is the main issue
oh
that I'm
yeah.
scared about here. Does this mean we are centrist and mainstream? Does this mean pretty much she's going to be exactly like Labor? People say Labor's not centrist, obviously, but I mean, really, I'm struggling to see a difference between these two, to be brutally honest. But I mean, what do you guys think in the comments? Let us know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, trust them. Well, I wouldn't
Yeah.
trust any politician as far as you can absolutely throw them. Not in a million years. What I'm looking forward to, Jason, is something funny
Mm.
on Monday. So you're seeing all through social media all these so-called organisations who say they stand up for us, but of course none of them do much for us really. A lot of them all talk. they are telling everybody who to vote for. You need to vote for this and ramming it down your throat. Like, I never tell anyone who to vote for. It's your choice. It's up to you. You're a grown adult. You can decide for yourself. But they're trying to see all these organisations ram it down your throat who to vote for, their favourite person. Then on Monday, when their favourite person doesn't win, I've seen it before, they turn around and they'll blame all you shooters. Everything's gone to shit because you did not vote for their favourite person. So it's going to be very interesting on Monday to see if they're going to if the organisations are going to repeat that sort of line again.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, who knows if we might get a result for Daniel Andrews by the weekend, but maybe some of the other positions you might not get a result. Blunt Machete said the sheep are forgetful. They sure are, man. Jay Icon, hope Cookie can do the business. I mean, I think he means Ian Cook from Mulgrave, mate. That'd be fantastic. That'd be a way to victory. But again, I thought parties would have put their pride aside and then just try and get behind one. I mean, there's so many seats in Victoria. Can they not just go for one seat? Like, why run? Just again, egos, the whole bit. It's just bad, man. I would, if I was at a party, I would have said, yeah, we're not going to run someone. We're going to get behind, say, Ian Cook because of maybe the interest he has from the whole Slugate thing. Let's all get behind him. Let's just run one. That's it. And maybe there's some smaller parties that might try and run, but if you've only got 3 or 4 and one's Ian Cook, you might have a chance of winning. I don't know. Mr. Wonderful said that the whole Labor cancer needs to be removed, not just Andrews. Well, again, unfortunately, the state is represented by the people, and the people keep voting for this clown. So it's not it's Daniel Andrews, but it's also the people. Like, how stupid do you have to be? You know?
I think the 2 major parties need to be removed. They're both just cancers on the arse of society.
That's true.
They both need to be removed because they are just different wings of the same bird. Here in Queensland,
hey, you know one thing too. People always say, like, as soon as I mention Labor being bad, which they are, they go, "Oh, well, you vote Liberal." I go, "I don't vote Liberal either." Like, again, they both suck. When are people going to realise they're both the same and they both suck? Mate, I can't believe. Anyway, Big T said Dan votes all have been imported. Yeah, probably. It wouldn't surprise. Neil Hayes said Animal Justice Party has a duck running in Mulgrave. Probably not going to get any votes out there.
Colin says Dan simply has no serious opposition, and the Libs in Victoria are a joke. I mean, the betting odds are 1 to 7 for Labor win and 5 for the Libs. Yep, I hate to say it. I do think Daniel Andrews has got the state by the balls. Whether he wins honestly or not, who knows? You just can't believe anything. Anything they do. Really,
and this is an interesting one. I'm not going to defend it. But I think to a certain degree, Andy 1234777 makes a good point here. So he goes, so the Sack Daniel Andrews party is preferencing Labor. Go figure. Now, there's 2 things I want to talk about here. One is the preferences. Listen, everyone gets hyped up on preferences, right? The thing is, you can vote below the line, right? But most people don't. I think there's something out there, some results like 92, maybe 93%, up to 95%. Will never vote below the line because, again, they don't get it right. They stuff up the vote, or they just don't want to. They just want to vote for their party and let the party decide. I don't really care. And maybe if it's the Greens, I'll care, or the Animal Justice Party. But listen, if a pro-shooting group, I'm going to go out on a limb here a little bit. I don't really care who they preference, man, so long as they, are elected. That's what I care about. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know there's some parties that maybe they're preferencing Labor a bit higher than other parties. Okay, it's not great. But at the end of the day, if this is the best chance of him being elected, well, then so be it. You know what I mean? Like, well, I'd rather them in Parliament than not doing some of these preferences and be out of Parliament. But will those preferences get other people elected? Well, that's yet to be seen. We'll have to wait until Saturday. But on the flip side, too, everyone's getting fired up about Glenn Drury. If you know who Glenn Drury is, he's like they call him the preference whisperer. And everyone's like, well, Glenn Drury can game the elections and all this sort of stuff with preferences and get people elected. Well, yeah, okay. Well, that's the system that we're dealing with. That's the system put in place, over the last, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. If you've got someone that knows how to work preferences, pay the guy as much money as possible and get elected. I don't have a problem with that at all, even remotely. I don't care what party that guy works for. If he's worth $20,000 or $30,000 per person, he gets elected, $50,000. I don't know what it is. But all the power to him if he can get you elected and you've got to pay through the nose to get it to happen. It doesn't always happen. But at the end of the day, he doesn't always get everybody elected, but he has in some stages got people elected. So I don't know what the big hoopla is about these freedom parties fighting each other for parties that have used Glenn Drew before. A lot of parties have used Glenn Drew before, so I don't see the issue. But anyway, that's
not
my
at all.
preference. So okay, it's not great if they're preferencing Labor. I think it's not great if they're preferencing the Liberal Party either. They're not great for shooters either, guys. You know what I mean?
I'm
They're
not
not great for shooters either.
I'm just not a fan of preferences at all. I think the whole voting system needs to be stripped down and basically
Yeah, but then you're putting it back to Labor and Liberal only, guaranteed all the time. Not even anyone in Parliament to try and hold them to
true.
account. You know, so it's
I do agree with Andy here. As long as mandatory voting exists, there'll only be Liberal and Labor government. Yep, I don't think voting should be mandatory. It should be voluntary. You shouldn't have to be forced to vote. A lot of people like me don't think you should vote for anyone because none of these scumbags deserve a free paycheck from us. And why reward all these people for inactivity? And a lot of them, just there for their own good. So how many of them you see they leave and they walk straight into a big cushy banking job and that the next day? You can't tell me they're not organising all that while they're meant to be working for us.
Yeah.
So no,
William says, I don't know if anyone else is from Geelong area, Victoria, but I'll change the word. He goes, stuff me. There is definitely some Labor Andrews lovers down here. Mr. Wonderful said the organisation WSAA sent an email saying they're very productive and positive discussions with Lib Nat over shooter hunters' rights. Labor didn't even get back to them. Yeah, well, that's true. But again, I put it back to the fact that again, Labor's shit, right? So definitely not defending them under any stretch of the imagination, but all the heavy gun restrictions have all come from the Liberal government. That's just a fact. We saw it with the Adler. We saw it with Abbott banning the Adler. We saw it with the 96 gun laws. We saw it with pistol bans. We saw it. Yeah, we saw it. I mean, to a certain degree. I'm just thinking, the pistol ban, the 96 gun laws. We saw it with thank God it was temporary under Barry O'Farrell, the Liberal Party here in New South Wales, when they stopped public land hunting. Thank God we got it back, but it was probably touch or go.
What about the ammo bill or whatever it is? The ammo
bill,
crap?
Yep. The ammo bill.
Down in New South Wales. This is why, and I do it every time whenever I do vote, is the Liberals go dead last. Because I'll never forgive them for banning guns.
M. Gabriel said, we have our elections problems here in the USA, narrowly avoided disaster. Well, they took the House in the US. Elon Musk is doing it, mate. They're freaking out on Twitter, man. Everyone's back on Twitter, Donald J. Trump, who else? Project Veritas, Andrew Tate. Who
Babylon
else, man?
B got let back on.
Babylon B, they're pretty funny at times.
Hilarious.
There's so many that have been let back on, but it's interesting because he doesn't want to let Alex Jones back off for some reason. So we'll see what happens with that.
I reckon because Elon said he had a child that died, and he won't tolerate anyone profiting or saying anything about dead children. So that's why he won't let him on.
Yeah, Matt says easy to say don't vote Liberal, but I live in the most locked down city in the world. It's the only way to get him out. Well, yep, that's up. That's your vote, mate. You're entitled to.
For this time, I can sort of understand people doing that, just voting just to the sake. Well, basically, like the last elections, people voted Albanese, the wet sock, voted for him because he wasn't ScoMo, and I think a lot of people will vote for the Libs because he's not Daniel Andrews.
Yeah, this is an interesting one too. I don't want to get into too much of this because it's really not related. But he said, vote for people that are willing to stand up against the WEF, World Economic Forum, whatever. Wants to investigate the trial, of the thing, investigate the trial so they don't.
You're allowed to talk about it now, apparently.
Oh, well, I just don't want to get the thing banned anyway. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people listen. I say this all the time. A lot of people think the trials are coming and all that. There's no trials coming, man. The judges are in on this like the police. Anyone's going to be held accountable from any politician. Sorry, guys, we're just kidding ourselves. They got this well and truly sewn up. There's no chance these people, you think judges are going to go against the people that pay them? They want to get, go.
They're not talking about it anymore. It's finished. They're trying to dump it down the memory hole. Gone. They don't want you to know about it. They want you to forget all about it. Like it never happened. But here they are carrying on again. This bullshit about the about the new fourth wave, and it's so dangerous. And here we had them on the TV, the head health officer or whatever in New South Wales. Oh, the fourth wave's coming. No vaccine is made that will stop it. It's going to be really bad. And but go get jabbed anyway. Go get jabbed, and you'll be all good. So
Listen, I'd like that to happen, but again, these judges are not going to go against people that pay them. They might want to get promoted to, if it's just they're lower court judges, they might want to get promoted to Supreme Court, High Court, whatever, cushy jobs later on, mate. And again, how many court cases were there, and how many of them went against the government? A lot of them were dropped, a lot of them lost. It was just a shit situation. But Tank Meister said that it all boils down to their policies. Libs hate firearms, and the Communist parties are just as bad. That's true too.
yeah, exactly.
Mr. Wonderful says BS. I'm not sure what BS. I mean, BS from someone in the comments. We're talking BS. I don't know. I'm just talking what's going to happen probably. But
Jiffy Sun said, one nation against guns. I've never seen them talk about it. Well, I've got the video up. You can go look at it on this channel about Pauline Hanson talking about how she'll never change anything gun related and just keep it the same. So she will never fight for your guns. She's happy with the gun bans, and we'll just leave it at that. So to me, that's not good enough at all. So I'd never vote for a one nation person ever in a million years.
Listen, I'd probably put him as like second or third or something behind any good pro-gun parties, but I mean, that's just because I don't want to vote for the two majors. But Gabriel says, one sec, airsoft is banned in Australia. Crazy, I know. You can use paintball. I can buy a 300 Winchester Magnum or even a 50 cal in New South Wales, but I can't play airsoft. Go figure.
Yeah. That whole airsoft thing is just absolutely ridiculous.
Baralara, yeah. You've got that right, Aaron. Oh, right. You got that right, Aaron. I think you mentioned John Baralara was going to be the job before you ever found out about it. Yeah, that's right. Well, he ended up being stupid, didn't he? Ended up punching on somewhere in the streets of the city and got, get charged. And
what happened to the years? He's got charged. Has anything else happened from that?
I haven't heard from it. The guy just, again, can't control himself, which is not surprising. Colin said, this is Dan Andrews, simply has no serious opposition. The Libs in Victoria are a joke. I mean, the better odds are $1.07 for Labor to win and $5 for the Libs. Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, the bookies know what's going to happen, mate. The bookies aren't stupid. I really hope I'm wrong on this. I just hope there's a silent majority that come out and say, yeah, no. But again, will Matthew Guy be a one-term premier? That's yet to be seen, even if he gets in. But
this is what always dumbfounds me about the elections here in Australia. The day after, a couple of days after, they all come out and say, "Oh, we've lost these votes, or this didn't work out. They ran out of this, or something went wrong at these polling booths." But yet nothing happens. They don't recount them. Nothing. Now, there's always something that's gone wrong, and it should have basically voided the election. But they just sweep it underneath the table every time.
Yeah. Jay Icon, so let's all become Freemasons, eh? The free pass. Yeah, they apparently in South Australia, if you're a Freemason, you can get access to prohibited weapons. I don't know how good the application would have to be, but I'm sure it's fun. As long as Andy 1 2 3 4 777, as long as mandatory voting exists, there won't be a Live Labor government. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Big T says he hasn't opened his safe for 3 years. We'll never forget. Yeah. Well, don't worry about that, mate. Just get out there, start shooting. Don't worry about it.
American friend here, Gabriel. Can you have BB guns and slingshots? Well, BB guns are actually a firearm here and must be kept in a safe, and your little BBs have to be locked up, and they're classed as right next to your 300 Win Mag. So they are and a shotgun. So they are considered a firearm over here. Completely ridiculous. Unlike when I was in New Zealand growing up, they were just a toy. Kids can go buy them and used to shoot them down the hallway, even up to 20 years ago. I think most of them are still toys and air pistols over there. And slingshots, well, no, they don't call them slingshots, do they? Call them bait throwers, because you can't have a slingshot here. They are meant to be for fishing, to throw bait out. That's how they get their way around it.
They ban fireworks too. They ban fireworks.
Yeah, and when you buy slingshots, you can't up here. They can't be assembled. They got to come in bits.
Yeah. Anyway, let me share this one. This is important too. Let me go Chrome, this one. See if that can come up. Let me know when we're good to go. Is it up? No, not yet.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, good. You tune out on me, did you?
Oh, just reading out Mr. Wonderful's thing that we'll bring up.
So yeah, how often do here we go. Here's an interesting part. How often do upper house parties vote with the Labor government? So obviously avoid the Animal Justice Party. They're just right up Labor's bum, 83.2%. Fiona Patton, let's hope she's gone too. She's been a disease on Victoria, 74.3. Let's hope this clown, Rod Barton, Transport Matters Party, he votes with Labor 63% of the time. Surprisingly, the Greens only vote with Labor 62.4% of the time, which was kind of blew my mind to it. It's still a lot, but I mean, you compared to the Reason Party and Transport Matters, you think it'd be probably Animal Justice Party and then the Greens or interchangeable. Anyway,
that's because the Animal Justice Party and the Reason Party, the only people that actually listen to them is is Labor, so they vote for them anyway because everyone else just ignores them.
Yeah, Darren Hinch's Justice Party, 53.9. This kind of shocked me too. Well, it didn't because I knew he voted for a lot of the pandemic powers. Shooters and Fishers, Borman, police officer, we really shouldn't be surprised, 48.2%. Even Sustainable Australia only voted with them 40.3. I think that's Catherine Cumming, 38%. She's an independent. The Coalition, i.e. the Liberal Party, 28.9, and Liberal Democrats, Tim Quilty and Dave Limbrick, only 22.1%. So, I mean, take that what you will. But yeah, I wouldn't have pretty much voted with any
the Liberal Democrats. That's pretty disappointing.
Well, what do you mean? It's the lowest on the list. Give them a chance.
Yeah,
I mean, compared to
still
what?
Still almost a quarter of the time.
Yeah, but listen, at the end of the day, sometimes you have to get legislate when you've got no power. What are you going to do? Just oppose everything they do? I mean, what is if they actually, again, like you hate to say it, but sometimes a party will have a reasonable, a reasonable policy, have a reasonable thing they want to put forward. And if it's reasonable, then I don't see what the problem is. But I mean, you can't just go, it can't be 0%. It's just not feasible,
Yeah, but what reasonable things has Labor ever put in?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not in Victoria, but there's got to be maybe some funding for hospitals, roads, and stuff like that. There's probably stuff like that. But anyway, you had one to bring up. Apparently, you said
our friend Mr. Wonderful saying Libs banned guns is disingenuous. Well, no, it's not. They did ban the guns, and if this was the case, none of us would be here.
Okay, if he's referring literally to banning all guns, well, okay, that's right. But I mean, come on, man. 1996, he banned a shitload of guns. Like, I don't know what you're trying to get at, man. Listen, I know you love the Liberal Party and you want them to succeed, man, which is totally fine. That's fine. You're entitled to, vote who you want to vote for.
They basically destroyed the shooting sports and hunting as we know it.
And how many? Let's not forget.
Like I said, the over $1 billion has been wasted on the Libs bullshit gun laws so far. Their gun bans and buybacks.
Yeah, and then a lot of people lost their businesses. People committed suicide. Family breakups. I mean, it's not just as simple as just banning a gun. It was, businesses going out of business. Effects. Yeah, the ongoing effects of. Look, example. I said it the other day. It's a short one. People say, oh, yeah, they're loving the fishing licenses and all the compliance for fisheries and all that. Okay. How many fishing shops were in Sydney, man, many years ago? How many fishing shops were around Sydney? Man, I remember growing up, heaps. Now you don't find very many at all because a lot of people aren't going fishing anymore because of the fishing license. So a lot of those businesses went out of business. I mean, anyway, the fact is we can't say they didn't ban guns because they did. Then they followed up in 2003 with more pistol bans. Which again cost more people to hand in their guns, lose lots of money. A lot of people weren't, compensated fairly. I mean, some people were compensated because they bought just a bit of pipe in and they had something on there, and they got $350 for it or whatever it may have been. It was just a piece of crap. It wasn't even a real gun.
I heard gun shops up here in Queensland were handing in springs and saying these are from pistols and getting like $100 per spring. And I even heard one shop got a manufacturer to manufacture thousands of these springs and said they come out of a pistol and they were getting like $100 a pop per spring and is paying like 10 cents a spring, stuff like that.
Brandon Fairley said, is anyone checking out the Buckmaster, the push-button shotgun? No, but I did see a video pop up in my feed. I do want to watch that. I am looking at a Bushmeister myself, the lever one. So if anyone's got one, how's it going?
Yeah.
I want to find out, because I can get one for under $1,000, and I'm seriously considering it for another hunting shotgun. But anyway,
Yeah, it'd be worth having a look at. But it all depends on how reliable they are in time, because even the expensive lever release or button push ones, they're not
yeah,
really all that reliable. Even the rifles I've seen and I've used. So I want to make sure $1,000 is $1,000. You want to make sure it works pretty much every single
yeah,
time you press
yeah.
the button.
Andy says, I'll be surprised if Andrews loses. So many people love him in the state. It's perplexing. Yeah, I totally agree. Matt says he's had some issues with the you-know-what, so he's still having a few issues. He's over it. Yeah, mate, we're all over Daniel Andrews. I mean, you don't want to know what I think. I've got to be careful about what I say, but it's not complimentary, put it that way, against Mr. Andrews. I mean, I was surprised because when he first came in, he was pretty. Remember, I think I'm not sure if a lot of guys remember, he did a quick interview in front of the people answering questions, and one of the Annies got up and said, "Oh, you're going to ban duck hunting," and he was pretty forthright and said, "No, I'm not going to ban duck hunting. That's what it is. That's the decision of his government. End of story." So I was quite happy. Maybe this guy is a bit in the middle, but then we've seen him just go completely nuts, didn't we? Through the last couple of years. So it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
I think they all need to be held responsible over the virus attack from China as well. This is the main thing. They need to be fully held responsible.
This is what I don't understand. This is what I don't understand. I got to call him on this one, because Mr. Wonderful said Pauline sold out every gun owner in the country. Well, I mean, you just said we were disingenuous. I mean, okay, they sold us out publicly. Yeah, I agree with that. But they weren't a sizable person in being able to make laws and voting against gun reform, whereas the Liberal Party did, man. They did. That's a fact based in history, based on legislation that was passed. So I don't know how you can say it's disingenuous to say the Liberal Party didn't do that, but then Pauline Hanson somehow sold out every gun owner in the country, man. I mean, come on, man. I mean,
were they even around in '96?
That was Pauline. I think Pauline was Pauline in there. Pauline was in there. Let's have a look. Well, I'll look a bit later, but I'm pretty sure she was. I mean, I can't remember, but she would have been only based in Queensland anyway. I mean, again, let us know in the comments. I mean, hey, listen, I know she's not great. I'm not defending her either. She's made some terrible comments, but we can't take away from what's also happened to us as well. It'd just be madness to say that the Liberal Party hasn't banned a considerable amount of firearms. I mean, that's just be not true. So, but anyway, I get it.
The old police state, and this is what people never need to forget, what they did to us. William, I'll never forget going to work up in Melbourne, being stopped by 30 police officers, showing my proof that I can work while they are armed with rifles and pistols. What were they going to do, really, Jason? You are going to work and you just want to get past. Were they really going to gun an unarmed man down because he's just had enough and he just, say, runs past the checkpoint? Like in Nazi Germany, they're just going to gun him down because he hasn't got the right paperwork or got papers saying he can go to work. It's just absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
Why they didn't need to be armed with the rifles and showing force or anything. Well, they didn't need to do any of that to start off. Look at places like Florida in the US. They had one of the least amount of cases, and they didn't do any of this sort of lockdown stuff or masks and anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wondered what were they going to really do with the force they were showing.
Looks like you got a text message.
Yeah,
M. Gabriel said, Aaron's saying M. Gabriel, stay in America.
Yeah.
I totally agree, mate. Stay in America if you can. Yeah, there's some obviously not so good states in America, but even a lot of the bad states far outweigh what we've got here in Australia. So,
yeah, exactly.
See, Isaac Hamilton said the mandatory gun buyback was a Liberal thing. They can say buyback all they like, but at the end of the day,
still,
most people didn't want to give. We had 100,000, I think, in the city of Sydney in '96. So, I mean, if that wasn't enough to change things, we can't even get several thousands now.
Yeah, and Aaron Johnson. The slaves will once again complied. This is Australia after all. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Matt says he lived in Victoria 46 years. He said anyone that's not in the inner city, they hate Dan and wants him out. It's going to happen. All right. That big call, Matty. Let's have a bet. I don't want to bet this because I'm hoping. if Matty loses, Matt Cato loses, he's got to get on the stream and just shred the guitar man. How does that sound, Matt? You can come up with something that I've got to do. I'll admit I'm wrong and you're 100% right. How does that sound? Shredding the guitar on the live stream. I reckon the people that watching the stream would love that.
Yeah, it could be the in-house musician.
Yeah. Hey, you can record. Hey, even better, you can record us an intro, Matt, for our. That's why we don't run any music on the intro anymore. So you can record a little 2-minute nice guitar part for us. How does that sound? I reckon that'd be pretty good. You can send it to Aaron, and he'll play it for the intro.
Yeah, it's going to be about 2 minutes long. And
Southern Star Review's with us again. He's late. Welcome back, Southern Star Review, aka Steve, top fella.
Here you go, Jason. I've got to put this up.
Oh. What is it? What did I do this time? What did I do this time?
I've got to find it. Jeez, got so many comments. There you go. Super chat, Mr. Wonderful. He really wants to tell you off.
Pauline met with the NRA, got caught, then said she would never change gun laws. Yeah, I just admitted that. We talked about that at the beginning, man. I mean, we talked about Aaron had the video.
Yeah.
Am I talking a different language here, or I don't understand? I already said that.
Mr. Wonderful, you're rolling him up again. He's gonna pop.
Well, we said that at the beginning. There's a video that I specifically put on Facebook that I recorded, and that video that Aaron's got was the one from me. So I'm the guy that supplied it. So I don't know what you're talking about, but anyway. Even Neil says the Libs took his guns. Thankfully, for some actual common sense in the chat from Neil. You know, that's like, get it, man. You like the Liberal Party. That's fine, man. You can vote for whoever you want to vote for. I'm just saying that's your right to do so, man. I'm not sure why you're so hung up on them. I mean, okay, maybe we should ask him a question. We should say, if Daniel Andrews wasn't there, would you still be voting for the Liberal Party? That's probably the more important question. So listen, I could understand, and I can understand Matt's point of view where they want to get rid of Daniel Andrews. So I can understand that. But if Daniel Andrews wasn't there, there was no last 2 years, everything was kosher, duck hunting was safe, would you still vote for Matthew Guy in this coming election? I think that's the more important question, because I get why people want him out. I get that. You know what I mean? I get that.
And here's another question.
Hey, one thing. At least Hanson was meeting with the NRA, looking at trying to hopefully, when they got caught, they sold us out. That's fine. But at least they were. How many parties can we say actually met with the NRA and were trying to get tips and tricks off them? None. The Liberal Party weren't. I can assure you, they were too busy banning guns.
Yep. And here's another question for Mr. Wonderful. I don't know how old you are, but have you ever been hunting, shooting with semi-automatic rifles, and hunting and shooting with pistols on private land and having a blast with all these awesome guns that the Liberals took from us? Have you ever done that? Because if you have, and you are still supporting them, there's something wrong with you, because semi-automatic rifles are so much fun. They make hunting safer, and they to me that it's more effective pig hunting gun and everything that we can never have again. And shooting pistols on private land is a no-brainer. You should be able to do it. So I don't know if you've ever done that in your life, Mr. Wonderful, but I have a lot overseas and here. Not over here, sorry, overseas. And I just wish I could do that again, but I can't, solely because of the Liberal Party.
Matt said he's got a deal. He's going to come on the show and shred for us or he's going to make us an intro. He can choose which one he wants. He's going to make us a two-minute guitar intro, record it via MP3 or whatever, and then something that'll suit the intro. I reckon it'd be good.
And then he can come on the show and do a live concert of it.
Yeah. The Southern Star Review, the last 2 years was a test to see how far they could push the population. Totally agree. Ray Thomas, vote for the Freedom Party or Liberal Democrats here in Victoria. I've seen those parties going at each other a bit. Morgan Jonas and over this Glenn Drury debacle, which is what I've been talking about. But again, I don't have a problem, mate. I'd pay if I had the money in the party and it guaranteed us to get elected because he knows the preferences. Well, that's the system too. But I don't know what everyone's getting so rolled up about it. I want to be elected. I'll pay $30,000 to have someone that knows how to do preferences to give me the best chance. Just makes sense. Why wouldn't you do that? I mean, anyway, it doesn't make sense. But anyway, yeah. Matt said it's a deal. I think I just read that out. We read Mr. Wonderful's one about the NRA. She was caught out. Yep, that's true too.
Oh, I did have a good one here. Uh, yeah,
Isaac said Australia is a great country. He'd never leave for another one. People who run it, on the other hand, that needs to change. Totally agree. I agree with
there
that.
you go. Pauline Hanson from Jacka. Pauline Hanson says her party will never change legislation. There's more pro-gun than SFF. We know who that one
Yeah,
is.
well, a lot of people were. Listen, I'd probably put yes. I think Ricky Muir for Gippsland for SFP not be a bad pick. I've always think he's an okay guy. He's one of those old school workers. He works in a mill. I think I wouldn't have a problem putting my vote, but if you're in the Gippsland area behind possible Ricky Muir, I know probably Aaron will probably disagree with that, but I think he's not too bad. Obviously, Liberal Democrats have been massively standing up for the last 2 years in Victoria. I mean, obviously not to discount them either. I mean, they were pretty much the only ones. That's just a fact. And you see on that chart, they only voted with the Labor Party 22%, whilst not a great outcome, compared to other pro-gun parties at almost 50%. So take your pick. It's your call, your vote. You decide where it goes.
I don't know if this is a piss take or what, but Ned's head. I might go black-pilled and vote Labor Greens.
Oh,
Rip the
no.
band-aid, so to speak. And once we're in ruins, we can rebuild the country again.
Well,
Only
someone
if it
did say that a couple of weeks ago. Things
only if
have
it's
to
that easy.
absolutely just go to rock bottom. Well, we thought that was the last 2 years. That was rock bottom. And I've got to, honestly, I really have to question the sense of Australians, man. I really do. I really do.
Exactly. It's going to be very
You know?
interesting, that's for sure. It's something I know we've got a lot of Americans who watch this show, and of course, a lot of Australians. But Kiwis, what I want to do is get a Kiwi on the show who shoots and can give us an update a couple of years after their big gun bans. What's going on over there? That's
Yeah.
something I would like to see, because our good friend unfortunately died, who we did a show with. I think that's still up on the channel. Straight after the gun bans, he was in a lot of the hearings as well in New Zealand in the Parliament, and he was
Mm,
being vindicated by the New Zealand police as well,
yeah.
being targeted for his views. So yeah, we need to. We'd like to know what is actually going on over in New Zealand with their guns. What's changed?
Mm.
Has anything else come in? Because we know that Ardern is an absolute communist, and she'll be fully wants everybody disarmed. So while she's in power, I think she's even worse than Daniel Andrews to be.
Well, someone mentioned it in the stream before, and I did see that they're trying to, because she's absolutely getting smashed in the polls. They're trying to change the voting age to 16, so I don't think that's going to be successful. But with her, you never know what she's going to do. But Ray Thomas said, put Labor, LNP, and the Greens last on your ballot. That's what he's going to do. I guess that's his opinion of what he's going to do. What else we got here?
I know.
But that was a good one from Ned. But I wouldn't recommend ripping the Band-Aid off. Let's try and keep the Greens at bay. Not vote for him, man. Not vote for him.
I was thinking, here's Matt Outdoors. I was thinking about going to Canada and that turned to crap. Yeah, agree totally. They're liberal, whatever, lefty,
I think
communist party totally destroyed shooting over there as well.
I reckon Trudeau, Pierre Polyev, man. He's some kind. Listen, I don't like all politicians, but I'd love a Pierre Polyev for the Conservative Party over here in Australia, man. I reckon he's going to absolutely knuckle Justin Trudeau at the next election, but we'll find out if I'm right or wrong on that one too. Isaac Hamilton, sadly, I suffer for a decision made 9 years ago before I was never even born. Shot a semi-auto. Yeah, well, that's right. That was over 25 years ago. So some people were long after that, they weren't around back then. So
yeah, it's amazing how a lot of old timer shooters. I had this argument with the guy at the range years ago, and he was all for the big gun bans, and he thinks no one should own a gun over a 223 caliber anyway.
yeah.
And he was like in his 70s, 80s. He was so adamant that John Howard did the correct thing, got all these semi-autos in our hands, and in the same breath, he said how much fun he used to have with all his semi-autos, but he had no problem whatsoever handing them back.
Yeah.
So he had his fun with the guns, and you hear this quite a bit. He's had his fun with the semi-autos, but stuff everyone else.
Just to address this one too, Mr. Wonderful said, I've answered both questions. I'm not going to pay to answer though, mate. You don't have to pay. There's so many questions coming in, man, from people.
We're averaging
I'm struggling.
14 to 1,600 questions a night in 1 hour.
So I'm sorry if I haven't seen it. I apologize. Like, mate, we gave up long ago about, thinking this was going to make us millionaires. We pretty much make zero. So I couldn't give a shit about money. And I've been doing this for Aaron with 3 years. And what'd you buy me, Aaron, after the first year? You helped me out with a GoPro, didn't you?
So GoPro,
yeah.
So here's a funny one.
I think I've earned my money. I think that's about $1 an hour. That's not too bad, eh? Not too bad.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah, no, nothing really pays on this. Yeah, if you're starting a YouTube channel, I think you're going to make money no matter what field you're in. We've got other YouTube channels as well. We do.
Maybe if you get
There's
tens
no
of
money
millions of views, you might.
Yeah. Well, it came out this week about YouTube cutting back all the advertising and everything. There's not enough money to go around, so they're just going to be chopping it more.
Yeah. Or he said he lives on 200 hectares. Suppressor would make life easier to control the feral pests over 1080. Mate, I agree. I don't know why we don't have suppressors. I think that'd probably be, regardless of semi-autos and so forth, I think that'd be the better option to start on suppressors, I reckon, as a first thing. Like it should be, a lot easier, I reckon. That should be a number one priority, I reckon. Suppressors,
what about
that'd be a huge change.
What about the Queen FUD that you interviewed, Bridget McKenzie? Oh, I'm putting forth this. Oh, we're going to get.
She lied to me.
Putting this.
Oh,
I told you that. I told you that
anyway.
I told you that before you did that interview. She's full of it. George, didn't she just get on there to promote a book?
Yeah, no, I don't know if she had a book, but
whatever else she was doing.
Well, obviously, I'm not stupid when it comes to the Liberal Nationals. We know. Neil said Freedom Party is saying good things about keeping coal-fired power and forest logging. Yeah, I mean, they definitely be on my list. Obviously, don't discount it. It seems like they've got a good firearms policy. But again, man, they've not been in Parliament. Is that going to take away? I mean, whether you like all those parties, is that going to take away votes from LDP or the SFP, whatever? That's an interesting part. Whether we think they're going to or not, I don't know. Of course, it's each individual's right to vote who they want to vote for, and
might have started an OnlyFans page here. Matt reckons.
Hang on, we could read that both ways. He said might have to start an OnlyFans boys, as in a boys one. Not you missed it. You missed the almighty comma in between OnlyFans and boys. That makes a huge difference. That makes a big difference.
And it should be called Only Gun Fans.
Yeah, exactly. Brandon said shooters New South Wales or shooters fishing New South Wales proposed a suppressor bill recently. Did nothing happen about it? Well, you've got to have the power, mate, in Parliament to be able to get those things through, and we just don't have enough numbers. That's why we've been saying, Aaron was saying for years about, that it was going to have to be some sort of legal fight to try and get these people off our back. Because if in 25 years we don't have enough people in Parliament that are representing shooters, I mean, if you work it out around the country, what is there? Probably 10 reasonable. And of those 10, I'd probably only consider a couple of them to be really pro-gun, like as much as me and Aaron. But let's say you did have 10. Let's say it's 15 around the country, 15. Mate, if that's all we can muster in 25 years, that's a bit of a fail, man, to be brutally honest. So I just think it's not going to happen at a legislative level. We just got to, we've just got to, maybe take them to court, continue on with that process might be the ideal situation. But, then we've got issues with organisations, range funding. So when they're not going to tackle issues with the government if they get range funding or their shooting sports funding. Why would any of those organisations stand up against the government when they're getting some funding by the government? They just won't, because they won't get the funding. So again, a lot of conflict of interest, a lot of problems,
Brendan said, Fish and Shooters New South Wales proposed a suppressor bill recently.
Yeah, we already read that one, man.
Nothing happened. Yeah, nothing. Sorry, I didn't realize that. And Colin said, they did a bit of a bad job on it, so nothing came of it. So before we do head off, let's talk about the duck hunting. Daniel Andrews was sitting on the fence earlier this year. There's heaps of news articles on it, like around February, March time. They were talking about they aren't going to do anything about it, but who will know? I think if Daniel Andrews gets in, this could be his last time he's actually in, unless there's another big lockdowns or anything like that, or he somehow wings it. But I think this could be his last time, and this could be his only chance. And if he's going to make deals with these Fruit Loops of the Animal Justice and the Greens Party, mate, I think you can 100 if he needs them to pass their stuff in. I think this is the end of duck hunting in Victoria.
Yeah, possibly. Two things before we go. Southern Star Review said, so true. This is why the government funds them to prevent backlash. Or, yeah, I mean, well, why wouldn't it? I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it, that if you give funding, keep them at bay. What do they call it? Controlled opposition. Give them a few dollars and they won't say anything and keep them happy. Yeah, maybe there's some merit to that for sure. Definitely. So, okay, before we go, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Do you think what's going to happen with the election? Who do you think is going to win? People can read the comments when we finish the show and let us know. Do you think Andrews is going to win? Do you think Matthew Guy is going to win? Do you think it's going to be
the Greens Party?
The Greens Party? Do you think it's going to be Labor needing Greens as support to get bills through? Animal Justice Party? Or do you think old Andy Meddick's going to stay in politics? Is he going to be, he's not going to get the preferences or the votes to be voted out? Let us know what you guys think in the comments. I mean, we've only got a couple of days to go, 3 days. I think the election's on Saturday, isn't it? 26.
Yeah.
So
it is.
I'm sure we'll find out within a couple of days after that. Probably find out on the night what's happened with the actual election. Might be closer than we think. Andrews might get it. Maybe Matthew Guy might be, just absolutely, we can't read the room and the disenchanted voters vote against Andrews. It's possible.
Yeah, and it's going to be very interesting. So it's going to be, well, by the time we do our next show, which will be definitely before Christmas, guys, I've been getting so many messages coming through. When's the next show? Well, work has been busy, so but we are going to do. Normally, we'll do our yearly Christmas party one show. We'll definitely be doing that and having a great time like we did last couple of years. But we should have be interesting to see who is going to win on Saturday. So
just some very quick ones, Matt. Before we go, Matt Cato said he needs to get in or he's leaving the country. Don't be like the left. Don't say you're going to leave and then they don't leave.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Whoever gets in, majority
like Hollywood.
Win. Southern Star Review says hope freedom wins. M. Trundle says sorry he's late. Vegas said AB said sorry he's late. Labor Greens Melbourne is full of Looney Tunes. M. Gabriel, sorry, Blunt Machete, I should say. Sorry, my bad. Connection buffering. That's it. All right, got to go. Got heaps to do tonight. So
thank you so much for joining us, guys, and we do apologize. It's been a while, but we will try and pick up our game, I guess. But thank you so much.
It's all Aaron's fault. It's Aaron's fault.
It is actually. Jason's actually on to me. Come on, let's do one. Let's do another one. But it's me and my work has just been that busy. Got to make a living. Got to buy some more toys. So have a great week, guys, and we'll see you very soon again. Thank you, Jason. Thank you to Browns Plains Firearms for sponsoring this show. So we shall talk to all of you guys. Get in the comments and tell us who is going to, your prediction, who is going to win, Labor or Liberal. We want to know down below. We'll tally them up and talk about it on the next show.
And put it in the comments. And put it in the comments on the actual video too.
Yeah, put it in the video comments and we'll tally it all up. Thank you so much, guys, and we shall talk to you very, very soon. Good night.